Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, welcome to the week with me, Comrade Fatso. Now, this week we have a special interview. We are going to be interviewing a vendor. No, not him, him. Now, him and his vendors are going around spreading typhoid around the country. He is also a known terrorist, known for giving flowers to the ZANU-PF. He was also kicked out numerous times from the Rainbow Towers Hotel. No, not him, him. Ladies and gentlemen, today in studio, we are joined by the chairperson of the National Vendors Union of Zimbabwe, NAVUZ, Comrade Sten Zvorwadza. Guys, I thought you were bringing me a vendor. This is not a vendor. He doesn't have a cardboard box. There's no maputi there. Who is this?
It's Stan, leader of the vendors.
Ah, Sten. Sten, good to have you on the show. So, Sten, tell me, your name is spelled S-T-E-N. Does that mean you're a very Sten guy? And apparently you're a leader of the vendors. You mean the vendors in the Beitbridge area? Are you also leader of the Batonga people?
Well, possibly yes, but look, good question.
Mm-hmm.
Today's vendor is an educated vendor without a job. So you possibly find me one day in a suit, or possibly find me one day, holding this expensive, documentary book or record. So it's today's vendor, but we surely mixed in that category. I lead street economy workers. We call them street vendors.
Right.
But I'm surely, so happy as well to lead these vendors, in Beitbridge and Batonga. I'm sure if they are on the other side of Zimbabwe, they are street vendors because 95% my informal economy.
No,
I can assure you.
I'm sure, and we can do that for you. We can go down to Beitbridge and find vendors who are vendors, and we can find Batonga who are also vendors. Then we can just swell the masses in the ranks of the union.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Stan, vendors have been in the news recently. They've been fighting with city council. They've been banned from the streets. We hear they are guilty of causing typhoid. Apparently also maybe they are the ones who made the 15 billion disappear. They could also be guilty even for making the data prices rise. So do we agree with city council? Should we not just put these vendors off the streets, comrade?
Look, very interesting, our leaders of today, Zimbabwean leadership, they are good at blaming others. Today they are saying, vendors, you have caused the typhoid. Tomorrow they will turn around and say, Fatso, your vehicle has caused these potholes. So they are just good at blaming others. And what we are saying at this point is, guys, let's appreciate that the problems have been caused by someone who is not a vendor, who is not a street vendor.
To take some works, we're vending here. We've got a matson here for the smokers, in the Eva shop for the thinkers, in the Rooibos for the Salala drinkers. If you are Salala, we've got Rooibos tea here, and the doi, also known as the peanut butter, just to put it with your veg, and you make good traditional food. $1 for two. Even we've got quarter loaf bread here, just quarter loaf, 3 dome chede, kind of 200 bond notes.
Well, I guess that leads me to my next question is, do you want to be the next Morgan Changirai? Because if you think about it, back in the 90s, Morgan was head of the biggest workers' union and he went on to dominate opposition politics. Now, there's no more industry, no more workers in Zimbabwe. The biggest industry now is vendors. And you're heading up a big vendors union. So is your plan, Stan, to go and run for political office 2018 or 2023 or 2032, Ameno? Is that your plan?
Good question. Look, I stand between the government and the people of Zimbabwe. So what I am fighting for is the leader of the National Vendors Union, an institution that leads the informal economy, is to create a social contract, Fatso, a social contract between the government and citizens. And because we have such a huge following, we don't look in terms of politics, because politics will define leaders of tomorrow. As citizens of Zimbabwe, we want to be defined by being able to solve our issues being able to address our problems. And we look at these problems issue by issue. And this is just basically our social contract that we so wish. Don't think in terms of me standing out there and say, President Sten Zvorwadza. Never. Look, I will continue to fight for the citizens. I will continue to speak for the voiceless and fight to have a future generation of the people of Zimbabwe, not as street economy workers, but as professionals who would have achieved it through hard work and a total consultation.
With the return of Pastor Evan Mawarire, do you feel that's going to give a boost to social movements here in Zimbabwe? What are your thoughts on that? His return, his arrest, and the way forward for social movements?
Absolutely. He is one pastor that stood up and spoke against the injustices, corruption, poverty. And he also supported the young ones to understand that if a pastor out there can just rise up, discuss about poverty, injustices, and the problems that bedevil the country, many have tapped in. I understand that other pastors were doing it in the past, and other pastors are also doing it today. What we have seen by his return is the revival of his spirit to fight on. It now depends on him as an individual, how he wants to drive this spirit forward, how he wants to direct the narrative and the energy of those who believe in him. But I can tell you, he is a leader. He mustn't just look at himself as an ordinary pastor. He is a pastor in church. He has tended to become a political leader. He is also a social movement leader. And because he carries all these jackets, he must be praised for hard work, and really hard work, not for himself, but for the future of Zimbabwe.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Sten Zvorwadza here on The Week. I have been Comrade Fatso. Thank you, and
Futseke.
Futseke to you too.
Dirotenda.